Further ado, I'll introduce on the stage the very man that I was talking about, the MC of World Vegan Day, the Vice President of World Vegan Day as well, and the Vice President of VegVic. No, let's have a very warm welcome for Jason Carstens.
Thank you, Mark. Got my hands full as usual. All right. And welcome. That one sounds a bit clearer, does it? Does that sound clearer than that one?
Yes.
That one's better? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Handheld. Cool, thanks for that. I just doubled. Oh, that is me. Is that the clicker I need to use? I forgot to ask. Cool, thanks. All right. As Mark said, my name is Jason Carstens. I've been a vegan of 30 years. And today's talk is on words, sales, and comedy, basically. I help out a lot with VegVic and World Vegan Day because vegan outreach is really my thing. Pretty much been a salesman since day dot, age 8. I was selling newspapers till age 15. And about 5 years ago, I realised that from a very young age, I was actually a door-to-door, cold canvas, commission-only salesman. So I've been doing this a while. I went on to run my own sales businesses, including setting up the biggest comedy venue in the country and probably responsible for all those annoying paintball ticket sellers you see around town. I can take some responsibility for that as well. And then I went on to have about a 10-year semi-professional career as a comedian. So today I'd like to mix sales and comedy and words and present an effective strategy for vegan outreach. Before I do, I'd like to just acknowledge what an absolute privilege and an honour it is to be on the same stage as many people here today that have inspired me as a vegan over many years. It's certainly, proportionately, possibly the biggest vegan outreach stage in the world. So even to be spared a moment up here is quite humbling. So, now just getting onto sales, and effectively that's what's been done to us. It is a fact that people only retain information that is either entertaining or crucial to their survival. Now, I hope to be entertaining. Humour breaks it up. When you make people laugh, they tend to remember what you say more. And as for being crucial to survival, well, vegan is that on many levels. So how have we become what we have as a species? I'll tell you how. Through lies and repetition. Everywhere you look and hear, there are graphic, violent pictures of dead animals on plates, and the repugnant act of killing baby cows and stealing their milk as if it was our own. Just driving in from Frankston this morning, I saw countless dead animals on the side of the road. And I'm not talking about roadkill. I'm talking about Hungry Jack signs and this burger and that burger, all doing their darndest to completely normalise violence. And it's wrong. Everywhere you look. Then they give it a cutesy little name that gets hammered home, like a barbecued chicken or a nugget or a drumstick or a milkshake, whatever, until our brain is utterly saturated and there is no room left for anything else before we turn 7. And it's statistically proven that that's the age to which we absorb the most, and it becomes normal. And they have the audacity to tell us to stop ramming veganism down their throats. How utterly ironic. Can we all see how distorted things have become? We're getting that even if we're not vegetarian. It's kind of not right. And we show one little clip of what actually happens in reality on Facebook, and we're the bad guys. It actually happens. They use rock stars, sports stars, and celebrities to sell their message. And today, I say, let's get them back with a couple. Johnny Depp, he said, if you don't like seeing pictures of violence towards animals being posted, you need to help stop the violence, not the pictures. Peter Siddle, in his 30s, just got recalled to the Australia Test cricket team. In 55-degree heat in the first innings in Dubai, he took more wickets than anybody played because he runs all day. Last week's grand final, Chris Mayne, he was on football scrap heap at Fremantle. He went vegan. He was a forward. Now he's up and down all day, every day, like an ever-ready bunny. They can't stop him. Played in the grand final because he turned vegan. Williams sisters, two of the greatest tennis players in history. Carl Lewis, more gold medals than any other sports star in history. And of course, the world's strongest man, Patrick Baboumian. So we've been lied to on so many levels. And Hitler said, if you tell a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, it will be believed. And we saw what happened there. So let's tell the truth big enough, loud enough, and long enough until we restore some sanity. Let's be repetitious. Why not? We know it works. They did it to us. Let's take an example of the power of repetition. I always wonder when I talk about the vegan diet and I hear people say things like, you have to die of something. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Where do you get your protein? Bang, 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 in your face, 24/7. No one asks this bloke where he gets his protein. Now, who wrote these platitudes and cliches is what I want to know. Were they all in a book that I failed to read? Because everyone says it. And more importantly, how did they catch on? I always wonder weird things like the first bloke to ever eat an egg. What the hell was going through his mind? Did he lose a bet? Or did he just go, Chook's menstrual cycle, I think I'll have that. That's weird. We've been programmed, literally, but it is not our fault. All we did was trust, and that is not a bad thing. So basically, it all comes down to sales. We're being sold, plain and simple, hoodwinked. We've been manipulated with lies, repetition, rhetoric, and the power of words. I just want to show you a sentence that demonstrates the power of words. It's a very interesting sentence, this. It says, I'm not saying your dog bit me. What's interesting about that sentence is that if you pronounce every word differently, you get a completely different meaning. Watch this. I'm not saying your dog bit me. 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 The words didn't change. It's all about putting the right emphasis on the right syllable, as you all know. That's the power of words. Now, another trick they use, and this is one of my bugbears, is phrases. Shooting fish in a bucket. Shooting fish in a bucket? And who knows the expression that we use when we achieve 2 goals with the one task? To kill 2 birds with the one stone. Why would you want to do that? Or, more than one way to skin a cat? Let the cat out of the bag? Absolutely bizarre terminology. What about this one? Flogging a dead horse. Bang, 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 in your face, 24/7. Horrible terms. Shooting fish in a bucket and killing birds. And when violence is normalised in language, it is normalised in reality. Let's normalise non-violence. Let's start saying things like shooting tofu in a bucket. If you're inclined to want to shoot anything at all, that is. Tofu comes in a bucket, fish doesn't. Or making tempeh and tofu out of the one soybean. It's got to start somewhere. We've got to reprogram. I know it sounds stupid, but doesn't sound as stupid as killing birds or shooting fish or skinning cats or putting them in a bag. Right? Let's make new expressions. Let's make new platitudes, because thoughts are things. Very, very powerful words. Thoughts are things. I know you're probably thinking this bloke's pretty highly strung. I actually got counselling for that one. I went to a naturopath and he said, Jace, you've got to be simple, mate. Relax. Take it easy. Take your vitamins. It became my morning mantra. Relax. Be simple. Relax. Be simple. I open the lid on the vitamins and the vitamin bottle says B complex. What do you do? Now we know that's a joke because clearly I'm not highly strung at all. And clearly the most natural diet of all doesn't require supplements. We've been vegan since day dot. It's been known for millennia. Now, we're all vegan, physiologically. It's just that some of us eat meat. But it's not our fault. And we need to understand that and be compassionate, hard as it may be sometimes. People say it's my choice and you have to respect it. I saw a good Facebook post that questions why respecting choice is only a valid defense when killing animals or destroying our biosphere. Let's see how you go if you apply the same defense to, say, assault or murder. Your Honour, I think you deserve a smack in the mouth and you need to respect my opinion. You're going to get understanding and respect, or you're going to get months or years. Really weird, twisted language. Now, all sales professionals require warm leads or prospects. And Schopenhauer said the truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. And third, it is accepted as self-evident. And I think that's about where we're getting now. We're past stage 1, halfway through stage 2, and we're storing normality to some extent. So, if you look at this quote, try to understand that the ones that give you the most grief are, in fact, in sales parlance, warm leads. They're not dismissive like in step 1. Their conscience has been pricked. They're ready to go, right? And there can be no greater warm lead to veganism than a vegetarian. Vegetarians are leads so hot that they burn your fingers. So don't drop them. Handle them with care. Don't attack them. They are nearly there. Now, unless you've been vegan from birth, there was a day when you walked in their shoes. So I hope you wore socks, because shoes can get smelly, particularly somebody else's. A vegan attacking a vegetarian would be like a prestige car salesperson saying, "Buy now, don't come back to my showroom tomorrow." How many cars do you think he'd sell with that attitude? See what I did there? I used one of their tricks, rhetoric. Huh? Wouldn't sell any. I was having this argument or discussion with a vegetarian friend of mine, and I'm going, "Man, it's veggie, like vegetarian, it's a vegetable. You can't be like vegetarian and still have dairy. It doesn't make sense." Like I said to him, "You can't show me a milk plant. You can't show me a cheese plant." I said, "You can't show me an eggplant." And then he reached into his top pocket, because he's weird like this, and he pulled out one of those things. And that was the end of my argument, there and then, dead on the spot. Oh my God, I resorted to props gags. And I was talking about evolution of consciousness, and I've just devolved. Okay. Devolved, that was. Now, unless you're selling a bare necessity, you are always selling a feeling. A real estate agent never sells a house. They sell a feeling of comfort or prestige or convenience or safety or affordability. And the vegan message is a feeling of well-being, of global consciousness, of truly loving all animals and not just some. A sense of contribution, a sense of connectedness and selflessness. Why do you think so many people sign up for monthly direct debits to animal or environmental organisations and then continue gobbling up the planet like Pac-Man on amphetamines? Because they have been sold a feeling. Don't ever be scared to sell the vegan message on any level. We all know the joke. How do you know when there's a vegan at the party? Don't worry, they'll tell you. That's me. And it's important work. I was hiring a truck to help out with World Vegan Day on Wednesday to bring some stuff for the show bags. I was a budget rental. And I just dropped the big V-bomb randomly. Out of the blue, I said, "Yeah, man, just picking up some stuff for the show bags at World Vegan Day at the showgrounds on Sunday." What did I tell him? World Vegan Day? Showgrounds? I was telling him it's a thing. I did what they did to us. I'm ramming it down their throats subtly, but 24/7. Yeah, that's the trick that works. Now, a couple of more slides before I get into the salesy side of the argument. Here's a really intelligent, handsome vegan. Was there a joke there that I missed? I've got a couple of laughs for the first time today. And his owner. That's Horace. Look at the poor little fellow with a grey beard. He's trying to look like his old man, isn't he? Huh? They say dogs look like their owner, and vice versa. And another famous actor, Marty Feldman, said, "I won't eat anything that has intelligent life, but I'd gladly eat a network executive or a politician." And everyone's favourite philosopher, Dr. Seuss. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you will go. And today is a place of learning. Many, many people turn vegan on the day here with free literature. We have the VegVic area behind here. Mark Donadue wrote this wonderful booklet that we hand out for free called Eating Up the World. The best thing about this booklet is the new one on the health choices. The previous one was on the environment. There's about 200 references in it back there, another 200 online. It's all peer-reviewed research. Because if we handed it out and it wasn't, we'd get sued. And they're available for free. So please, by all means, feel free to take any literature today. Not just from the VegVic stand, but from others as well. We've got these little reference cards here. I'll leave them on the stage. On the back, it's got what to read. You know, the China study, T. Common Campbell, the greatest epidemiological study ever undertaken. What to watch, like Earthlings. Things to just maybe get you over the line. Because I think if we're not there already, most of us are close, or we simply wouldn't be here today. That's by my reckoning anyhow. So yeah, many people actually turn vegan on the day, and today could be your lucky day. Now, here comes the sales part of the talk, and I know what some of you are thinking. Where was the comedy part? Fair enough. Now I want to present an 8-step strategy. In order to sell anything, we need 2 important tools: goals and knowledge. You need goals, because that's your roadmap, it's your direction, your rudder. And make your goals lofty. Aim for the stars and land on Mars. Who cares if you don't hit those heights? But if you aim for the ceiling, you land on the floor. Goals give you direction. And many people I know have succeeded in life without any knowledge whatsoever, just simply by having a goal, because thoughts are things. Now rest assured there was a goal laid out to get us to where we are, so set crazy goals. Why not? They did it to us. And the second tool is knowledge. There are so many ways to sell the vegan message, and it's selling because we are attempting to change habits. Otherwise everyone would already be vegan and we wouldn't have a product to sell. And wouldn't that be lovely? If your angle is either health, the environment, morality, or animal rights, I like to call it animal wrongs, you need to do one of 2 things. Either become an expert in your field, or an expert at referring and deferring to experts. There is so much free info and literature here today. Please partake in all of it. So we need to know our product, what we're talking about, or refer people to the experts. And we also need to know who we're talking to. We also need to know the target. Who are we dealing with here? So I'm going to give you a little action plan to help you through that, because a lot of us do struggle. And the first thing we need to do in any sales is, of course, build rapport. Does anybody know about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming? So hard to say. It's things like, you're all familiar with body language and mirroring posture, etc., etc. I don't want to go all Anthony Robbins on you, but it's suffice to say that, you know, if you're observant, you probably do most of it anyhow. So if you're outreaching to a stranger, like at an AV Cube, or if you're working on one of these volunteer stands today, the quickest way to build any rapport, simply swap names. Hi, how you going? I'm Jason, what's yours? Great, nice to meet you, Frank. What do you do for a living? Cool, thanks for stopping by today. Here's what we're doing. It breaks the ice. You must always make a friend before you make a sale, because ultimately they are buying you, and it's crucial to know that. And the next strategy is the power of questions. When we get answers to questions, we get information. And we can use that information to make for a better sales presentation. So ask a lot of questions. Ask leading questions if you need to, but avoid rhetoric or emotive sales talk like, don't you want your family to be happy and healthy? No one likes that. If we ask questions, we engage them rather than talking at them. Establish their value system and help them to match it with their lifestyle. Just imagine the inner turmoil that would come with thinking and feeling one way and living another. This is the dichotomy many people live with. This is probably exactly who you are talking to. We need to understand this and help them through it. Be a mentor. So asking questions is one thing, but when we get a response, we need to listen. The greatest tool in any sales or outreach is to listen. You know the story, one mouth, two ears, and I believe everybody wants to be vegan, but they just don't know how to be. And as I hope I pointed out, it's not their fault. What are their objections to veganism? Find out. Or more importantly, what sales pitch have they fallen for most? What is the right approach to take with this prospect? Give them enough rope and they will hang themselves eventually. Muhammad Ali called it rope-a-dope. Let them hit you with their best shot, get them punch drunk, then swoop. They did it to us. Now you know what angle to take with the information volunteered. It is your turn to speak. And everybody's favourite subject is themselves. It's got to be about them, not about you. So when you speak, address their hotspots that you just ascertained with your questions. I find that the health angle is a good one because getting someone to revert, getting to someone go vegan can be difficult. But get them to be selfish, well, I find that comes quite naturally. Now, I just want to reprogram a little bit more language, a quick defrag if you would. Some of you may have noticed that I just used the word revert. Helping someone to go vegan is not a conversion. It is a reversion to what is natural. They do not convert, they revert. They defrag, they unprogram. After your question and listened, there are two key tools I train salespeople to use, straight out of the Jason Carstens training manual. Agree and praise. Lead into your turn to talk with agreement with what they say. Nod in approval. Never argue. The work you're doing is far too important for that. From their perspective, it is their truth. Use compliance statements like, I used to love meat too. I know what you mean. Whatever. It builds empathy and trust. And drive it home with a compliment. Something like, hey, good on you for talking to me today. 10 years ago, I would never have spoken to somebody like me. Okay? Now, can I just please have a non-vegan raise their hand? I'm not going to attack you. Just any non-vegan in the audience. We're not all vegans. Trish? My friend Trish here. Trish, I want to tell you, it's very easy to get a vegan to World Vegan Day, isn't it? You reckon that'd be pretty easy? I reckon it's pretty easy. But to get a non-vegan to World Vegan Day, that's a little bit harder. So you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to really reach out and thank you for coming today. More so than anybody else. Big hand for Trish, please. Thank you for being open-minded and objective and coming today. How do you feel, Trish? Do you feel warm and loved and respected? Absolutely. See, this stuff works. But only if you're genuine. Only if you're genuine, because that will smell the rat a mile away if you're not, okay? Can you see that I mean that I'm really happy to have Trish here today? If you're not genuine, it will show and you'll burn your lead. Whoever you are, whatever you are, just be yourself, because everybody else is taken and there is nothing more charming than who you are naturally. Then I like to skip 2 slides. No, I don't. It just happened. Hey, that was a good quote. I just jumped the gun. I find it very important, step number 5, to reiterate. Try to remember and use their words and reiterate them. Show that you're listening. Show that you care, because nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Always remember that. Carry that through life. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So by now they should be like Play-Doh, yeah? You're nearly ready to make a reversion. But before we do, we need to self-assess. A powerful way to do this in general discourse is to cross-check. Every now and then just drop a little question like, does that make sense? Did you know that already? Did I hear you say that? Or did I pick up from what you said that? So what that does, it commits them to understanding your point. So they can't ever double back and say that they didn't. It's our first real commitment. and we're getting to the nod. Try and nod and say no at the same time. It's not easy to do. And then of course we need to provide an alternative. We should know by now what their habits and triggers are, so we must now provide an alternative. You can't just say don't do something unless you provide an alternative and address what to them are legitimate fears. Talk about what you used to do and how you changed it. For example, I used to worry about calcium too, but then I found out quite the opposite was true. It actually leaches calcium. Dairy leaches calcium from your system. Tell them how you learned it. Refer them to resources. I would love for you to allow me to provide you some research and resources so that you can make your own mind up. Little lines like that, because people love discovering stuff for themselves more than being told. And try to move the timeline in their brain. Use language like moving forward, or from now on, or in the future. It psychologically takes them away from the past, which forms their present, and that is where they are stuck. And that is what we're trying to change. Little cues like that automatically move them into a forward-thinking direction. It becomes about tomorrow and not yesterday. And that's what we're all about when we vegan outreach. So we reach our final destination in the process. Commitment. Get a commitment. This is what salespeople call the close or the call to action. How many times have you heard a salesman say something like, if I could get that colour or that warranty or whatever, if I talk to my boss, will you buy that now? They are searching for a commitment. And one of the most common ways of avoiding commitment that we hear is, oh, but I love the taste. How often do we get that? But if I could offer a similar taste, texture and price, would you choose violence or non-violence? Would you buy my product today? Do you think you'd ever turn vegan? Do you think you could try it for a week? Have a go, try. It's our job to facilitate that day, and hopefully that day is today. But you must allow them their own pace and space, because few people like change, even if they know it's for the better. As I said, many people turn vegan on World Vegan Day. So there's a look, there's a little 8-step strategy I've tried to put together. And look, it gets results, and I hope you try it, and I hope it works. Psycho can be contacted any time through VegVic or World Vegan Day, because with effective outreach, we have absolutely everything to gain and nothing to lose. Okay, we are selling. But as I said from the outset, we have been sold garbage. Look at what you're selling. It's the greatest product in the world. Every vegan wants to share the gift. Well, here are a few tips. I'm shouting from the rooftops and literally jumping with joy daily. Let's fight rhetoric with candour. Let's be frank, even if your name's Trish. Let's fight the bottom line, the dollar, by not giving it to them. Let's fight repetition and brainwashing with education. Stop funding these industries of death. Be a conscious shopper and hit them where it hurts most. It's already happening, and we are hurting them. We are already making a difference. Do you think Hungry Jacks have a vegan burger because they care about animals or health or the environment? Simply look at the rest of the menu to answer that question. We are reverting at such a rate that according to Google Trends, the search on vegan has doubled in just 3 years, with Australia and Israel leading the way. The facts are out there. You can say you didn't know, sure, you weren't meant to, but you can't say you didn't have access to the facts, because ignorance is now a choice. So let's get some facts and stop swallowing the fear and the death, the poison, the cruelty, the chemicals. Most importantly, stop swallowing the lies. Let's set a personal goal to bring light and love and health to a completely ridiculous number of people. And as follows, 1 million animals. If every person you help goes on to help 10 others, how many lives have you saved? Never lose sight of this and never lose hope. It can be a thankless task, but we're not here for the thanks. We're here because it's our calling, our duty, our way of saying thank you for my beautiful life and my precious life. And when we outreach properly, we're actually saying, I love you and I respect you. So for the animals, the planet, and our health, sell the vegan message. Tell the vegan message. Why not? They did it to us. Don't be shy, because vegan is not a dirty word. Any Skyhook fans? Vegan is not a dirty word. Thank you. I'm Jason Carstens.
Let's hear it for Jason Carstens. Okay. Now, Straight after Jason, we have the Vegan Business Leaders Panel, and to introduce the panel will be the host. And the lady who's going to be hosting this panel is Rachel Lamarche, and she is the founder of a group called the Vegan Women's Collective, and it's focused about women and business. So without any further ado, I'll introduce to you Rachel Lamarche.